Welcome in, everybody, to the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series live here at Talladega Superspeedway. I am Landon Veleke. You might know me from the On the Track and also the Monday Night Series, the lead broadcasts and all that. But I was asked to come in here tonight and record this series for everybody. Day after Christmas and everything. Obviously, people are away, so it's going to be a first solo try at it, so bear with me if anything goes wrong on a new mic as well. But here we are. To begin tonight's race, it'll be the Truck Series, once again here at Talladega Superspeedway. Daniel Falkingham has taken the pole for tonight's race, along with Malik Ray joining him on the front row. We'll go ahead and pull up the full grid for you real quick. Daniel Falkingham, Malik Ray round up the front of the field along with Drew Jiwa, a new name to the PGR series. Good to see him out here. Chris Melton will be starting in 4th. Chris Walker in 5th for the Jack Shack. Michael Triscaro in 6th. Matt Lee for NBG in 7th. Alex Hill in 8th for Nightmare. Dalton Steele in 9th. Dylan Jones in 10th place. Blake Giglio, you'll have to correct me on that name, starts in 11th. Stephen Miles for Nightmare Esports starts in 12th. In 13th position tonight, we'll have Cody Nagels for Nightmare Esports, Devin Ray in 14th, Nathan Harper 15th, David Sheets 16th, Mark Vondell in 17th, Evan Carlbon in 18th, Matthew Baker in 19th, Jeff Merck will start in 20th place tonight, Dylan Basin in 21st, Freddie Baznez 22nd, John Darnell III in 23rd, Josh Jabroni in 24th position tonight. 25th will be Josh McCullough, John Mullahan in 26th, Mike Davenport 27th, Davis Greenwell in 28th, Connor Cunningham 29th, Brandon Broadfoot in 30th, Quentin Steinbach in 31st, Brian Hennings 32nd, Jeffrey Johnson II in 33rd, Bobby Wojcik in 34th, James Wagner 35th, Sierra Clampert in 36th, Jared Haynes in 37th for the Jack Shack. 38th will be Jonathan Herbert, Larry McDonald in 34th, Kevin Fries 40th, Joe Huerta for the Jack Shack as well in 41st. Joey Masowitz in 42nd. John Ward in 43rd. Trevor Ozerov 44th. J.R. Miller 45th. Gordon Spain 46th. And Kenneth McCullough Jr. rounds out the field tonight in 47th position. As I said, we are here with the Truck Series again at Talladega Superspeedway. It'll be a 60-lap event. 50% fuel tank, full of fuel for them tonight. 3 tire sets, no fast repair as always. Fixed setups and 3 attempts at an overtime should we need it, which hopefully we will not. But these races tend to be wild, especially in a sold-out field tonight. This field was sold out about 6 p.m. Central Time tonight. It's really good to see that. Shows that money racing in the PGR Series ahead of the championship and the 500 is in a very good place right now, a very good spot. Something you do really like to see. Before tonight's race, I should make it known as well that this is the final chance for drivers to qualify their way into the PGR Championship. If they finish on a podium during any race of the season, that gets them into the championship race, but in order to compete for the actual championship, you have to win a race, and this will be the final shot for a lot of these guys in this field to make their way into that championship race next week. Daniel Falkingham and Malik Ray, 2 names that we commonly see at the front of the field in PGR events, RMR, it doesn't matter what kind of money racing event it is, you're going to see them at the front, and here they are once again with Drew Jiwa and Christopher Melton, a good qualifying effort for him, and like we said for Mr. Jiwa, nice to see him out here. I know he runs in the college series and does a few other things. Nice to see him make his debut in the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series here tonight. Green flag is about to come out into the air for the 60-lap event tonight. Daniel Falkingham, Malik Ray lead them to the green flag. Here we go. Coming to complete lap 1 here, it's going to be a tight race, 2x2 throughout the field. Daniel Falkingham will lead the first lap of tonight's event. Everyone's kind of taking it calm right now, except for a few of the Jack Shack members. It looks like Devin Ray, David Sheets, Stephen Miles trying to make a third line develop right there. You see Daniel Falkingham controlling the lanes, something that we very commonly see. It's something that you have to do to keep everyone's temperatures in the lines cool, keep them at least somewhat solidified as to where they are. If you're that lead car, you want to keep control of the race. You have to manipulate the lanes by doing things like that. That can obviously be different considering the track temperature and things of that nature. Usually with a hotter track temperature, that means the third line, the outside lines, are going to be more prone to moving forward. They'll have more momentum. Cooler temp will have a little bit less momentum, and the bottom will tend to prevail. We'll take a look at the weather tonight. 79 degrees for the track temp. So you would think, at least theoretically, as Malik Ray with a very tight squeeze on Drew Jiwa right there to get down to the bottom. Michael Triscaro and Alex Hill make some contact right there about 4 rows deep. But as we said, it's 79 degrees for tonight's race, a very cool temperature, which means tire wear is not going to be that big of a deal. Pit entries, pit exits, you're not going to be sliding the tires as much. That's good news for some guys that, you know, maybe they feel like they struggle with pit stops and things of that nature. We see Malik Ray is going to take the lead right here away from Daniel Falkingham as they did an interesting double clear. It's kind of interesting to see that early on in the race. You don't usually see stuff like that, especially with two rival teams of Malik Ray, or MGK, if that is what they're still called these days, him, Garrett Maines, and Kyler Wynn, and Daniel Falkingham, a member of Nightmare eSports. You usually don't see that, but a little bit of a breakaway here for the front two cars. Drew Jiwa tried to get himself cleared and was not able to. Christopher Melton and Alex Hill will be leading the other two lines of the race. Right now, it is pretty tame. It is something you don't usually see often in PGR races these days, but you know, we are 3 wide at the front. It looks like a lot of people in this field are just content to sit where they are, and that's probably a good idea for most of them. It's a 60-lap race. It's not a long race, but it's not a short race either. As a field like this, we have 47 drivers out here tonight. You got to kind of pace yourself and keep it calm for as long as you can. Make sure you get to some of the pit stops and things of that nature. Alex Hill and Stephen Miles are trying to work that outside line as best as they can, and they have some decent help with them in Freddie Bazinez and Josh Giambroni, but they don't have enough momentum right now to try and keep it going forward. Stephen Miles might be a little hot right now with his temperatures. Can't speak to that, but it looks like he's going to connect with his teammate Alex Hill on the outside and try and get some momentum going, but it's just not working out for them right now, as the entire front pack has now turned into 3x3 racing. Early on in this event, see Evan Carlbond in the back right there is going to hop in behind Cody Nagels, as Cody's actually going to blink out for a significant amount of time right here. That is not a good sign. Nathan Harper is going to fill that spot. That is bad news for Cody Nagels, as he will most likely, if he's gone for that long, he will drop connection. He will have to get his laps back later on in this race. So a tough break for Cody. As we see his other teammates right there, Alex Hill is going to slot back in line in front of, looks like Devin Ray right there, and kind of leave his teammate Miles out to dry back there in that 7 car. Another double clear by Falkingham and Ray down from the outside to the bottom of the racetrack. They're working really well together so far in this race. You know, those are 2 Coke Series drivers. They're very experienced. They know what they're doing, not only when it comes to super speedway racing, but any type of racing when it comes to iRacing in general. I'm sure if you put them in a real car, they would go out there and do fantastic as well. Drew Jiwa is going to push Malik Ray back to the lead. Another double clear. I'm sorry I keep kind of hanging up on that. It's just something you don't usually see at the front of these fields, because it's usually a team play, a kind of strategy to try and position themselves better. We see Malik is going to blink out right there too. A few internet issues tonight from some of our top guys. You really do hate to see that. The third line is still somewhat existent back there. You see Stephen Miles going to hop up. It looks like Dalton Steele just got shuffled out by Alex Hill in the back of this thing. He's going to try and get reconnected. We were 4 wide for a second. Mike Davenport, it looked like, took Stephen Miles to the inside. They managed to make it work right there. So that third line's trying to get it going again, try and get something, just whatever they can do at this point. Keep their temperatures good. They're probably, considering how far back they are, they're going to need to get people up there with them and help them out with it. But still here at the front of the field, it's just the Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham show leading the lines on lap 7 of this race. Kenny Reel is tonight's race control. Usually we see Michael Triscaro or Matthew Baker in that position, but tonight it is indeed Kenny Reel. He'll be, I'm sure, having to make some arguments and make some calls that people don't agree with during this race. That is by far a thankless job, and we should all appreciate what any race controllers do for our events, not just in money racing, but across iRacing in general. We saw Christopher Melton get deked out of line right there, and he's going to go to the back with his teammate Dalton Steele, Mike Davenport, Brian Hennings in tow. Veleke Ray still controlling lanes right here. Drew Giwa making an impression, and what, as far as I'm aware, is his first PGR start. He might have a chance at leading this lap right here. It's a good run for him. Let's take a look, see what's going on further in the back of this race. Just back it up a little bit. Everyone's just riding around. They're making advances forward. They're trying to go as forward as they can, but they're not trying to push the matter right now, as you can see, because there's pretty significant gaps between a lot of the cars right now. In the bottom, in the middle, they're just being patient. And that's a really good thing to see, as we are now going to be coming up on a sixth of the way through this race, as Chris Walker has taken the lead of this race for the Jack Shack. Drew Giwa does not want any part of it, and he's going to hop up in front of Veleke Ray on the outside line to try and take that lead back. But Matthew Baker and Michael Triscaro and Matthew Lee, the NBG teammates, are all lined up together on the bottom in the 5, the 34, and the 04 right there, 3rd, 4th, 5th on the bottom. That's going to be a significant thing to see. They are kind of trapped down there. That's, as at least for right now, is where they are. They're going to have to need to trust some good pushing from Chris Walker and from themselves to try and advance themselves forward and see if those three can take control of this race. We got contact in the back, looked like, with Jonathan Herbert and another car back to the, have it right there. A little bit of contact. Looks like everyone sorted it out. Herbert looks like going to have a little bit of left rear damage on the back of his car for Hyper Motorsports. Take it back to the front here. Chris Walker and Veleke Ray still controlling lanes right here, as the field is now whittled back down to 2x2 racing. It looks like a lot of these guys are going to try and hop back down in the line, in the back of the field at least, and ride around, maybe save a little bit of fuel. It is, after all, a 50% fuel tank, which, off the top of my head, is maybe a two or three stop race right here. It's got to be at least a 2-stop. So, in a 60-lap event, like we said, that is not long, but it is short. You know, it's a weird, awkward amount of laps to have in a race because of how we designed the fuel tank to be, what load it needs, what this, what that, and everything. So there's going to be varying strategies. I'm sure we're going to see some of these teams try and coordinate themselves, line up together to try and pit together and make the most of everything. Drew Giwa is going to go to the back right here. Veleke Ray and Chris Walker still lead the lines. It looks like he's just either willingly going to the back to save fuel or got shuffled out right there by Veleke Ray. It's a Jack Shack show in the third line. Trevor Osmernoff and Joe Huerta, followed by Chris Melton and Dalton Steele. Jack Shack and R&R, good combo right there. Quentin Steinbach in the mellow yellow truck back there is going to pop up, be the 5th car in that third lane. They're trying to see if they could make any momentum going forward. Trevor Osmernoff a few laps ago was just sitting in the middle, kind of riding where he was. And now he just decided, I want to go to the front of this thing. And he's making progress with his teammate Huerta. They're up to the 2nd row of this thing. It's just going to be interesting to see how long Joe Huerta can hold on to his temps and how well he can manage them in order to push his teammate past. Devin Ray, their other teammate, down there on the bottom in the number 2 pink and blue and white truck. A very pretty truck for Devin Ray and the Jack Shack. That is one thing about the Jack Shack. Their paint schemes are about top tier. They know what they're doing when it comes to painting, and you never miss them on the racetrack, that is for sure. But sadly for them, on the top line at least, Osmernoff and Huerta are going to go to the back. Osmernoff's going to find a way in line about 6 rows deep in the outside line just to try and keep whatever track position him and Huerta gained right there. That third line is it's just struggling up there right now. It seems like they need a lot of numbers and a lot of solid drivers up there that truly know how to manage their temps and know how to move a line forward. As Huerta is going to hop in front of Trevor Osmernoff as well in the back, and it's just going to kind of kill that line even more. Drew Giwa is going to try and make his way back up there. A little bit of discoordination between the R&R teammates, Chris Melton and Dalton Steele right there in the back. Still pretty calm so far. We're 13 laps in. Trucks are historically a pretty easy vehicle to drive when it comes to not just super speedways, but also on any tracks. There was an update recently, a few months back, that made him a little harder to drive on intermediates and short tracks, gave him a little less side force and everything, a little more power. But when it comes to super speedway racing, I mean, they're pretty sensitive with the steering. They're kind of darty, almost like a next gen, but not as extreme to that level. But when it comes to the pushing, you can basically just slam draft people. As we can see, Cody Nagels has now returned to the racetrack, but he will be at least 1 lap down here. Let's take a look back at Nagels. He is going to be 3 laps down, most likely 4 here, due to that connection drop. So he will need a lot of cautions, at least 2 or 3, I would think, to get all of those laps back. So he can go back and see if he can contend at the front of this piece. Chris Melton's about to hit the wall right there in front of Nagels. Nagels, what the best thing he needs right now is just some help from everyone around him. He doesn't. You want to caution in a way, but you don't want to be involved in it. As right now, he is the only car that is any amount of laps down. He wants his lucky dog, but he also wants to get all his laps back at the same time and see if he can wiggle his way back through this 45 truck field. It's still Malik Ray and Chris Walker at the front of this thing. Daniel Falkingham and Alex Hill, Nightmare teammates, lined up on the outside line now, along with Devin Ray, John Mullahan, and David Sheets. The only 5 cars in the outside line at this moment. And we're just kind of riding around. Looks like a lot of filing down to the bottom of the racetrack right here. I'm assuming a pit stop is near. Sure enough, Malik Ray, Chris Walker. We're spinning. Daniel Falkingham and Chris Walker are going to get into it right here. That's only 2. Oh, there's a massive crash in the back. This is a massive, massive accident right here. We're still wrecking trying to come into the pits. That was huge. Someone was barrel rolling on top of the entire pack. We're still wrecking in pit road. Larry McDonald, there's so much going on, I can't even keep up with it right now. That is just a wild, wild turn of events right here. It looked like Daniel Falkingham got hooked. I'm not sure by who. It was either his teammate Alex Hill or just maybe a miscommunication. Not entirely sure what went on right there. Let's take a look at what just happened. That was a massive, massive accident. Let's first look at Daniel Falkingham in this one, because he got turned first from what I remember. We'll have to back it up a little bit. It might have been Matthew Baker with a little bit of contact in him on his left rear. That was I can't get over how large that crash was. We'll try and take it to an overhead view. Here we are. Well, slow motion. You see Malik Ray and Chris Walker dive off. It looks like Falkingham wants to go down and just wasn't clear, but it was also a little bit of Baker coming back up the racetrack, and he's going to T-bone Chris Walker right in the right side. Walker's going to very nearly go over right there. Falkingham's locking it up, so is Walker. They're both going to make contact with the inside wall. If we play this out, I want to see if there was some more... Yeah, Larry McDonald in the back. Something also happened to him. There was so many drivers involved in this one. It's going to take a minute to kind of go through it all. Right here, we'll go back to McDonald. Dylan Jones, Evan Carlbine. You see a lot of guys involved right here. Okay, here's Larry McDonald. He's trying to pit. He's kind of riding the yellow line. Oh, they're wrecking even further back. James Wagner, Mark Vondello's James Wagner with a wild accident. Just doing a dance on top of Mark Vondello's truck. And he's going to spin it back out. But all things considered, as crazy as that crash was, he might have gotten away with very little damage. Larry McDonald doesn't have a rear clip right here. There's more wrecking going on in the back. That is just so much happening right here. Let's see if we can back this up further and take a look at James Wagner and see what happened between him and Mark Vondell. Just so much going on this pit stop. Usually it's a lot more coordinated than this. I'm not entirely sure what happened right here. So Wagner's kind of riding in the third lane. He's going to try and cut down in front of Jared Haynes, and he does that successfully, but it looks like he's also going to try and get down in front of Mark Vondell. They just come together as everyone else is wrecking right here. And that just the way that Vondell pushed him into the air. Oh, and the contact with McDonald puts him straight 10 feet up into the air. Massive, massive accident for James Wagner, Larry McDonald. And we'll take this back. There was someone else I saw that might have been involved in this. It was Cody Nagels, if we can. So he's getting wrecked. Also, he was a few laps down. Him and Herbert are having contact. Drew Jiwa has to miss. It looks like he's avoiding the pit cone to commitment cone because he knows yellow's about to come out. And is trying to avoid getting a penalty for that. Unfortunately, Cody's going to blink out, but this was just a disaster of a green flag pit stop for a ton of drivers right here. Here's Evan Carlbon. Him and Drew Jiwa, it looks like, are going to get together in the 78 and the 38 car. So Joe Huerta, Carlbon's teammates, he's sliding a lot. He sees what's going on in front of him. Here's Wagner on the right side of your screen. What a crazy crash for James Wagner. Nathan Harper might get a piece. Drew Jiwa just comes down and cleans Evan Carlbon out, it looks like. And that's going to... Well, Evans does a good job of saving it. That's what happened to Jiwa. He was not trying to avoid the cone and everything. He just went through there. Luckily, Chris Walker spun into the pit boxes so people are able to ghost through him, like Josh Giambroni right there. But this wreck just has so many layers to it. It's so hard to keep up with right here. Let's take it back to Jiwa. There's more contact in the back with Bobby Wojcik, it looks like. Let's see if we can back this up. Hopefully he does not blink out. And sadly he does right there. So we won't get a view of that, but it was just all over the racetrack. Wrecking, people trying to come in and pit, get coordinated for their pit stop. That is going to take out, I would assume, a good few people, at least temporarily, in this race. Because as big as that crash was, other than James Wagner and Larry McDonald, it didn't look like there were very significant hits in that crash. Maybe for Daniel Falkingham and Chris Walker when they slapped against the wall, that could have given them some wheel damage and some suspension damage in that one. But here we are again. We're going to reset right here. Malik Ray and Trevor Osranoff are going to be the leaders of this field right here, along with Nathan Harper, Josh Giambroni, Freddie Bazinez, Alex Hill, Matthew Baker, Devin Ray, Michael Trescaro, and Matthew Lee. Lots of sets of teammates up here. Malik Ray and Trevor Osranoff are somewhat teammates in this field. Not very... They run together sometimes in this. It's a difficult thing to try and explain when it comes to the Jack Shack and MGK, but Nathan Harper and Josh Giambroni and Freddie Bazinez are running together. Alex Hill is just kind of the Lone Ranger for Nightmare up here right now in the 77. Matthew Baker, Michael Trescaro, and Matthew Lee, all the NBG teammates, along with Devin Ray for the Jack Shack up here. So we're going to try and reset after what was a wild pit sequence, green flag pit sequence right here. Freddie Bazinez looks like saving some fuel down there on the apron in the number 8 Hershey's truck. That is, shout out to Freddie Bazinez. He's someone that runs pretty often in here, and he's been close to a lot of wins, just hasn't been able to finish it off. I think his last one before we ran Next Gens once was a truck race at Daytona, and he barely missed winning that race, and it would have been a big, big win for him. But here he is. He's in the top 5 of this race right here. We're going to go back green with Malik Ray and Trevor Osranoff leading the field back to the green flag right here. A solid jump for both Ray and Osranoff, but the pushers are going to get back to him. Josh Giambroni and Nathan Harper. A little bit of a stack up on the outside line right there between Giambroni, Hill, Devin Ray. Looks like they're all going to sort out. Matt Lee's going to hop to the bottom with his NBG teammates. Looks like we do still have a lot of cars in this race, you know, considering how big that crash was. It's good to see that. Like I said, you know, there wasn't a lot of significant damage taken in that. Like I said, believe it or not, I know Wagner's wreck was insane, but overall, these trucks are pretty durable. They take damage pretty well cosmetically, but until it comes to wheel damage, then they don't want to take damage too well. A little bit of a gap here between Devin Ray and Alex Hill. Not sure what's going on there, but Matthew Baker's going to take advantage of it. He's going to hop up behind Alex Hill. Trevor Osranoff's going to clear down with a push from Josh Giambroni. Oh, and Giambroni's going to get hooked right there. A little bit of net code. Maybe Josh Giambroni, a big hit right there as he gets right hooked. Look, it sounds like they're still wrecking back here. Trying to get back to it there. It's unfortunately going to blink out momentarily. There's Giambroni. The yellow flag is back out in this race. Trying to see what other damage. That's the 48 right there. Also involved in this one. Let's back this one up. That was very quick. Didn't take long for another wreck to happen right here. So this is Josh Giambroni. It looked like there might have been a little bit of netcode, at least from our first view of that, between the two of them. Taking it in slow-mo right here. Malik Ray's going to come up a lot right there. There's a massive, massive bit of netcode between him and Jambroni, and Alex Hill is going to finish him. A good save by Jambroni initially, but a hard slap against the wall for him. You can tell he's on 210. He just recently switched to that, and that honestly saved him from probably getting even more damage in this one. It looks like Dylan Basin might have also been involved if we can go to him. Oh, Joe Huerta, some contact in the back. Joe Huerta was sideways, and he's going to get up into Basin, who's going to get into Huerta's teammate Jared Haynes in the 7. Mark Vondell and Christopher Melton going to try and navigate their way through. Vondell's going to go right into the right front tire of Dylan Basin. Melton's hard on the brakes, trying to avoid him. It looks like, honestly, all things considered, those two probably took some light damage in that crash. Let's back this up even further to Joe Huerta. See what happened to him, because it looked like he got spun onto the apron initially, probably because of a stack up or something of the effect. For Huerta, he's by himself right here. He's going to follow Drew Jiwa down the track, and he's just going to go down to the apron to try and miss it. John Darnell's going to make a little contact with the rear of Basin. It looks like on that little transition of the apron, Huerta's going to get loose, and he's going to come back up into Basin and cause the rest of that one right there. Tough break for Josh Jambroni. And this one's good to see him running up front. He's someone who is currently solo. I know he's running with the likes of Bazinez and Harper in this race tonight, but you still hate to see something like that happen. We'll take this back one more time, see if we can get an onboard view from Josh Jambroni in what was a large crash right here. Too far back right there. My apologies. So there's Josh Jambroni. Take it to the cockpit view live as he pushes Trevor Osronoff clear right here in the exiting the tri-oval, and then all of a sudden he's just going to get hooked by Malik Ray's internet, most likely. If anything, it could be a problem with both. And you can see he wasn't expecting it either. Quick steering with that 210 ratio, just a big slap against the wall. I wouldn't say he's done for the night. He could still very well be a factor. But it's going to take him a while. If we still keep having wrecks and things of the like, he'll be able to get a significant chunk of that repairs. You see Gordon Spain making his return to PGR, racing down there in the 38. Shout out to him as well. Take back live right here. Trevor Osmond still leading this race, along with Malik Ray and Nathan Harper, Alex Hill and Devin Ray. Not much changed in the top 5 right there. John Mullahan's going to be in 6th. Connor Cunningham in 7th. Matthew Baker 8th. Freddie Bazinez in 9th, and David Sheets rounds out the top 10 right here. So we ran pretty clean and green for the first 15 or so laps. Had some miscommunications and disagreements on a pit stop cycle under green, and now just 2 laps after we go back green from that, Josh Jambroni with a massive netcode accident going into turn 1. And you hate seeing netcode so much. There's nothing that anyone can do about it. It's just a product of not just iRacing itself, but it's a product of internet, of servers, of however that works. That's above my pay grade, but it's a lot to deal with when you're racing, because in real life, you don't worry about netcode. Well, in iRacing, you kind of do, and you kind of have to place your car, your truck, whatever it might be, considering the netcode that could happen, especially with trucks. At certain tracks, I know like Daytona at nighttime is notorious for netcode. We usually don't see it that much in Talladega. Like, sure, it can happen. It's not as extreme, but something about the trucks since their new update, there's always been netcode issues. In fact, it was either last night or 3 nights ago. There was 2 nights in a row in Monday night's light series. Dawson Wise was leading the race for the Jack Shack, and all of a sudden got his bumper ripped straight off out of nowhere, and it ended up spinning him, and he spun down right here going into turn 3, flipped wildly just because of netcode. And I believe I don't recall who the next one was the night after that, but it happened 2 nights in a row, and that was something we hadn't really seen in months. Well, here we are with another netcode incident, unfortunately for Josh Jambroni. The field is lined up 2x2 once again. Kevin Freese has made an appearance into the top 10. It's good to see him back. I know he's down to running just the Thursday races. He usually runs OP, that league of there, the PGR we broadcast on occasion. There is a notable name missing from this race, and I will point out it's Garrett Maines, and he hasn't been around in a while for at least these races, it seems like. But it is Christmas time. It's honestly astonishing that we got a field like this sold out as quick as it did for tonight's race, just a night after Christmas. It's good to see that. Hopefully everyone had fun with their families and got good presents and lots of love and everything of that nature for Christmas this year. I know it's a time that all of us money racers can kind of lean back and enjoy the fun in things once again, and consider how mad we get at each other sometimes. Anyway, Trevor Osmoroth and Veleke Ray coming back to the green flag right here. Going to try and see if they can keep controlling the lines in the best interest of their team. Alex Hill is going to give a big push to Trevor Osmoroth right there. Try and get Trevor clear, but he's not just not going to be able to do it entering turn 1. Going into 3, a third line starting to develop right here. Drew Jiwa and Joshua McCullough. Just the two of them, they're making some good time up there up on the third line. Trying to see what they can do by themselves, but ideally they're going to need more help up there in that third line to make any sort of progress to the front long term throughout this run. Veleke Ray is taking control of the race. He's going to hop up in front of Trevor Osmoroth. Nathan Harper, a Truck Series PGR winner from a few months ago, won backwards across the line, ended up flipping backwards in a wild finish where the top 8 or so were all right under a blanket. He ended up winning by just inches of that race backwards too. We might have a crazy finish like that once again here tonight. Veleke Ray's going to clear in front of Harper. Right there, keep controlling the lanes. It's still Drew Jiwa and Joshua McCullough leading the charge on the third line. But Joshua McCullough has got to be running out of temperatures at this point, and that's really going to hurt their efforts in that third line. Coming through the trial once again. We're approaching halfway through this race. It's gone by fairly quickly with the 2 cautions that we've had. There's some calm racing up front. Veleke Ray's still just going to be controlling the lines. We'll take a look at further back in the field, see what's going on back here. Here's Jared Haynes for the Jack Shack in the number 7. Very vibrant paint scheme for him in the Truck Series when we race those. Jared's been on a little bit of a tear recently, if I'm not mistaken. He's been getting some cashes and some wins here and there, and it's good to see him go up there and compete. Evan Carlbon, Haynes' teammate, is going to make an effort with the third line. And so is Daniel Falkingham, returning from his initial accident, caught up in that big pit road incident under the green flag. So is Chris Walker. They're all back repaired. Good to see that for both of them. Kevin Freese is going to hop up in front of Drew Jiwa. That really is what that line needed right there. It's helpful that Evan Carlbon and Daniel Falkingham hopped up there with Jiwa and McCullough, but at the end of the day, Josh McCullough was still the lead pusher. And his temperatures were still going to be hot. They needed someone to hop back up front. Where there's a disagreement between McCullough and Dalton Steele trying to get up into that middle line right there. A big moment right there for both of them. They were able to save it. Joe Weird is getting lapped right there. Presume he was penalized for his part in the caution earlier in this race between him and Dylan Basin. Lots going on up the front right here. Alex Hill's taking the lead for Nightmare. Matthew Baker's hopped up to the third line as well. He's getting a big push from Kevin Freese. The middle line is not very organized right now at all. They might be able to clear both of them, but Trevor Osmoroth is go. Baker's not clear, and he's going to spin in front of the field. That is a big crash. Massive crash. Freddie Baz, we're still wrecking. Brian Hennings, Freddie Bazinez, Connor Cunningham, Jeff Merck in the back right there. Stephen Miles is working his way through. Michael Triscara might have been involved, and that just looked like a case of Baker not clear, but also trying to hop down right into the middle lane as Trevor Osmoroth hopped back up there. You see all the dirt flying from all the trucks that had to go through the grass right here. I think that is officially our big one in this race. We'll take this back to Matthew Baker, who made a wild move right there, trying to get in front of the middle line, but it was just too little too late for him. Osmernoth hops up in that middle as he sees it's kind of fallen back. Right there, he's with a push from Veleke. He's going to hop up there, and it's kind of in an effort to stall the third lane a little bit. He doesn't want Freeze and Baker to clear, but they just at the exact same time try to go down. And Baker just barely not clear of Osmernoth's bumper. And he does a good job of trying to save it, but at the end of the day, he's going to come back up in front of the field. A good avoidance by Veleke right there, right into John Mullihan. David Sheets nowhere to go. He's actually going to go through Baker. Josh McCullough right into it. Brian Hennings as well. Dalton Steele. This was a big, big accident. Jonathan Herbert right into the back of David Sheets. Through David Sheets in the 87 right there in the 06. And there was more contact up ahead of this with Josh McCullough and Freddie Bazinez. See Jeff Merck also in the wall right there. So, pretty significant accident going into turn 1 right here. Roll this back to Jeff Merck right here in the back. See if we can get an onboard with him real quick. See what he saw through this accident as the field just fell apart right in front of him. This is Jeff Merck for NBG. He sees it happen in front of him. Josh Ambroni hits the brakes good, and then they still wreck up here. Bazinez, and he's going to get rear-ended right there at the end of it, but get away with very minimal damage from that one. Well, I think that is officially our first big one of the night. Because of a miscommunication, something, just an oversight by Matthew Baker, not knowing that he was clear in front of Trevor Osmernoth. He's looking for Brian Hennings. Just flying right into Baker. And then McCullough comes down to Bazinez, up into Hennings. That might be some wheel damage for Brian Hennings right there in the 74. Let's take one more good look at this. He wasn't clear. We know that already. And he did his best to try and save the car and spin it back down the racetrack, but at the end, there was nothing he could do, and it's just getting piled into. Look at that. David Sheets, Jonathan Herbert, all the way underneath Sheets. In that one, see Josh McCullough once again coming up the track. Chris Melton does a good job of avoiding, splitting the gap between McCullough coming up the track and Bazinez about to be bouncing off the wall. Josh Ambroni's going to be involved. He's going to get his rear clip taken off right there at the end. Well, we've had our first big one on the night. Drew Giwa is taking the lead of this race. James Wagner in front of him, probably trying to get his wave around, get some laps back right here. Trevor Osmernoth is second. Alex Hill in third. Malik Ray fourth. Daniel Falkingham in fifth, all the way back to fifth place. For him, good to see that when he was involved in that early accident. Evan Carlbon in sixth for the Jack Shack. Matthew Lee in seventh. Nathan Harper is in eighth. Kevin Freeze in ninth. And Devin Ray will round out the top 10. We're going to see if we can get a quick interview right here with someone in this race, whoever's in Discord right now. See if we can get one with Trevor Osmernoth, who had a great view of that accident right there. Let's see if we can pull him in. Trevor Osmernoth, it is Landon Veleke in the booth with a great soundboard there from Trevor Osmernoth. Do you have a copy?
I got a copy, brother. What's going on?
Well, we saw that was an interesting little crash that happened right there. It looked like you and Baker were trying to go for the same piece of real estate, and maybe just a miscommunication. Baker didn't see that you were already there and just cleared your bumper. What did you see from that wreck right there?
It's pretty much the same thing you guys saw. We're just going for the same spot at the same time. We all think alike here. We all know exactly what to do at certain points of the race, and I thought of going up, and he knew he had to come down. Just meeting of the bumper to the new Toyota front end. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened there.
That is true. A rare sight to see Trevor Osbornoff in a Toyota in the Truck Series, that's for sure. You're giving it a good run, though. You're still up in P2. Been controlling a lot of this race with your teammates and everything. How do you feel about the rest of the race right here for you?
Feels good, man. Feels good. There's still a long way to go, but we just took halfway like a lap ago. So, man, anything will happen. I could get turned out of the lead and put it to the outside wall. So that's hopefully not gonna happen. But hey, you never know. Anything will happen. We just had an incident on pit road where I kind of turned Kevin free. So, shit happens. But let's keep her going tonight. And let's put on a show.
There you go. That is Trevor Osbornoff for the Jack Shack, giving it a great run for that 89 Toyota Tundra. Usually you see Trevor as a Chevrolet diehard, but here he is up front in his new Toyota and his new paint scheme, looking sharp in that 89 truck. And the outside line will be taking P2 for the restart right here. And yeah, a similar take that we did right there, seeing what happened on that wreck, just two people trying to go for the same spot. That's happened at least 3 times so far in this race. Usually people do a good job of kind of seeing through that and like knowing where people are and everything, but people want where they want to go. And when there's a one line, especially the middle, like right there, they want to be in that middle line. And that's what just happened right there. Well, Drew Jiwa and Trevor Osbornoff are going to lead him back to the green flag right here with pushes from Alex Hill and Malik Ray on the outside line. A bad restart right there for Evan Carlbon. Not sure what happened to him in the back right there, but he's probably going to be able to suck back up to Malik Ray unless Falkingham or Matt Lee wants to take it right here. He has the opportunity, but he's going to sit on the bottom and be conservative, accept his position where it is. The bottom lane's rolling anyway. Probably a good decision for Lee, as Alex Hill's going to hop up in front of Osbornoff. Try and take this lead away from Drew Jiwa, take control of the race away from Jiwa. And Alex Hill is known as one of those guys that he will control the lanes and he will do it his way, unmistakably, with no apologies. He knows what he's doing when it comes to that, so he's extremely aggressive, but also extremely successful doing what he does. He knows how to lead the front of the race no matter what the vehicle is. As here he is trying to take the fight to Drew Jiwa and Alex's teammate. And Trevor Osbornoff's going to get hooked a little bit by Malik Ray down to Matt Lee. They're going to save it. That might have been a little bit of net code right there. I'm not sure what happened there. Unless Malik was just pushing in the trial, that's really going to kill this outside line. Evan Carlbon, Osbornoff's teammate's going to try and save him back here. Devin Ray, the other Jack Shack teammate, getting shuffled out right there, but Chris Walker, another one of their teammates, they are loaded up here tonight for the Jack Shack. Took advantage of that. He's going to be fourth on the outside line right there after he was involved in the wreck with Falkingham at the beginning of this race. He has made his way back to the front of the field. He's already led laps in this race. He's looking to lead some more for Chris Walker. Good run for him, good comeback for him so far. But now we have Daniel Falkingham back to the lead of the outside line. Drew Jiwa is still leading the bottom. What a great run for Jiwa. He's showing out right here, and like I said, I think it's his debut. It might not be, but either way, a good run for Drew Jiwa. Daniel Falkingham's taking the lead in this race once again, away from Malik Ray and Drew Jiwa. Alex Hill has recovered a little bit from what happened to the middle line behind him. He's now going to be pushing Malik Ray on that outside line. Dylan Jones has made his way into the top 10 of this race. Dylan, everyone knows who Dylan is. He's got just the plain white truck, plain white, every car, whatever it would be, he runs in, but he's usually a very patient driver. He's one of the most patient guys there is out here. You never hear a peep out of him. He never gets mad, doesn't yell at anybody. Probably a better man than most of us in money racing. But here he is up in the top 10. Dylan Jones is actually a member of the Contender Series this year, trying to make a run for Coke. Congratulations to him for making the Contender Series. But here he is back, trying to make an effort to win yet another PGR race. If I'm not mistaken, he has 2, 3, something along those lines. Trying to add to that list right there on the all-time stats. Good run for him, fourth on the bottom. Daniel Falkingham hops back up in front of Malik Ray. He's going to take advantage as much as he can as the temperatures on the top and the bottom. He's going to extend the life of that line that he chooses to be in as long as possible to maximize temps for the one that he's going to hop back up into. That is the key to leading a race, especially in the Trucks and Xfinity Series. That is what you have to do if you want to control the race and not kill your own race and bury yourself. Contact in the back between Nagels and Ray, McCullough, Herbert. Looks like they're all going to get through it fine. Shout out to Cody Nagels as well. He's got his laps back from an early connection drop He has found his way back in the thick of this pack, trying to make something happen right here. The leader of Nightmare eSports sits right now back in 20th place, but he's found his way back to the top 20 when he was 3 laps down prior. He's going to make a move to the outside line. Definitely the desired line to be in if you're trying to make some progress right here. So he's going to be patient, a little bit patient right here behind Devin Ray, excuse me. A little contact between Ray and Triscaro right there. Not sure what's going on with Michael Triscaro. Yeah, they just dropped right there. No words of what just happened to them right there. It's kind of an odd look to see that, but that definitely killed Devin Ray's momentum and Cody Nagels, the ones behind him. Back to the front, Drew Giwa still leading this thing with Malik Ray to his outside. Not much has changed up here, just 2x2 racing. Davis Greenwell is up here in this 20 car. I think, if I'm not mistaken as well, that is a new name to PGR Money Racing. He's up here with a top 15 run in that number 20. Shell Ferrari truck, actually. That's a Ferrari F1 paint scheme on that truck. That's a unique thing to see. Shout out to him with a good run as well. Sierra Clampert is back here as well in the 2023 truck right there, the purple one. She's always got a recognizable paint scheme, and she's a very solid driver. She had a look at another podium in PGR a few weeks back in the next gens, but here she is up in the thick of this pack. Good run for her. Hopefully she can round it out with a good solid finish once again. Cody Nagels does not want to be patient anymore. He wants to go to the front, and he's going to trust Josh McCullough to get him there. But now he's going to have to push Nathan Harper, who also wants to go up to the front. Cody Nagels, anyone who's aware in that 6 car, as he ditches Harper right there, is just going to take his spot back in the middle line. Cody Nagels does not want to go to the back. He always wants to be at the front. He wants to lead every lap of every race if he can. So, look for him to come back from his 3 laps down. He's going to be making all the moves he can. There he goes, hops back up in front of Harper, but who knows if Harper is going to want to actually push him and return the favor since Cody kind of ditched him right there. But honestly, I think Harper doesn't really have a choice. Trevor Osmerout's going to hop back up there, trying to take his lead back for this race. Alex Hill's going to hop up there, and we are back to 3x3 throughout the entire pack. Led by Daniel Falkingham, Drew Giwa, and Alex Hill, the 3 lines. Now Matt Lee's got a look at the lead right here. The first time he's been in the lead all night with a push from Kevin Freeze in the back. Alex Hill's looks like going to be well clear right here. Big run on that 3rd lane with a push from Osmernoth and Nagels. They're both going to clear down right here. Osmernoth's going to go all the way down to the bottom, but that right there is going to line up Falkingham and Hill. 2 Nightmare teammates right there in the middle line. As Cody Nagels and Nathan Harper, a good combination of super speedway racers, going to try and get their look back at the lead. Here he is back from 3 laps down, getting his connection back and all that. Cody Nagels has got a look at the lead right here. Alex, his teammate, is going to take it from that one. This is a Nightmare train leading all the lines right now. Alex Hill, Daniel Falkingham, and Cody Nagels not giving up control of the lines of this race right now. But it looks like Nathan Harper's hot on the top. Cody Nagels doesn't really have anything he can do because Harper's hot and trying to get his temps back. They lost a ton of momentum, a ton of rows to the bottom 2 lines as Harper's going to ditch him back. Nagels has been abandoned out there on that 3rd lane. He's going to side draft as hard as he can to try and keep his momentum where he is, and also hope that someone else will hop up there with him and help out his cause, as Alex Hill's going to hop up back in front of his teammate Falkingham, Trevor Osmernoth, and Matt Lee, the new lead combination on the bottom line. As Dylan Basin, you see up there, he's about to get lapped right here. 20 to go at the line. It's going to be a wild few 20 laps right here, last few laps I should say. Nagels and Harper are making that effort again to go up to the top side of this race. But so is Chris Walker. Chris Walker wants to lead again. He's showing it. He wants a push from Cody Nagels, but so does Drew Giwa. And Nagels ditches it again. He's just gaining what he can, hoping that those guys will run out of temps and lose their position, their track position on the top of that race, or of that line, excuse me, and he can just keep moving forward. Like the 20 right there. Davis Greenwell trying to make his effort up in the 3rd line as the 4th car in that pack, trying to get something going for his race. Alex Hill with a iffy push from his teammate Falkingham. Mike Davenport's in, but lots of contact, lots of disorganization on the front. Right there. It looked like Hill and Ray, a little bit of a bad push or connection, something went wrong right there. It was a very iffy push for them going into that corner, as Chris Walker has now decided to ditch that outside line, hop in front of his teammate Evan Carlbon in the 23 and the 78. Very similar paint schemes right there, just blue and red for the Jack Shack. Michael Chiscaro is trying to make some moves in the back of this thing, but he doesn't really have anywhere to go. Just kind of trapped where he is. He's got Sierra Clamper behind him, Josh McCullough on the bottom, and Gordon Spain in the 38 down there. I think Mike's only chance right here to try and hop back up. He's gonna have to go third line at some point. He's got to just trust the people in front of him and the people behind him to get him up to the promised land. Because right now it is a lockout for Alex Hill and Daniel Falkingham at the front of this field. But Drew Giwa hasn't given up with that push from Nathan Harper. He's really, really, really giving it to the back of Drew Giwa as they're coming up on Matthew Baker. They're both going to be clear right here. What a shove from Nathan Harper with only 3 trucks in the outside line, but unfortunately Davis Greenwell is going to be the odd man out of that one. They could get 2 down, but they couldn't get 3 down, as someone's going to have to hop up there with him. Matthew Baker goes a lap down right there. Evan Carlbon's going to hop down in the back behind Stephen Miles, who's ran a very quiet race so far, but he finds his way almost in the top 10 of this thing. Looks like P12, P11, something around there. Stephen Miles is a very quiet driver. He's back here. Let's see if we can pull him up real quick. There he is. He's on the scoreboard, number 13. On the truck, he's number 7. There's a ton of number 7s out here, but he is that one. And he is someone that is very patient as well. The patient drivers in this thing, there's 2 different mindsets when it comes to money racing. You have your patient guys and your very aggressive guys who want to lead every lap. Both of them work. It's weird how that works, but both of those strategies work. It just depends on the race and the night and how everyone's feeling and whatever. Stephen Miles is about one of the most patient guys there is out here. And here he is, finds himself just outside the top 10 in 11th place. Coming to what appears to probably be a pit stop because everyone is filing themselves back single file. Nathan Harper's the leader in this thing. Alex Hill and Malik Ray, just the Lone Rangers up there in second. Cody Nagel is trying to get up there and get a little bit more track position for himself for this upcoming pit stop. Malik Ray is going to hop down, ditch Alex, just leave the 2 Nightmare Boys up on the top lane along with Davis Greenwell in the 20. So a pit stop, a green flag pit stop. We saw how it went last time. Hopefully there's a little bit more coordination amongst the field coming down for what should be their final stop of this race. We'll see how they manage it. Will they come this time? They will not. They will continue as they are. Hill and Nagels and Greenwell still trying to fight on that line, see if anyone will let them in. But coming to 14 to go, 15 to go right now, it's going to be iffy if anyone wants to let them in the line and do that favor for them, because track position is everything, obviously on the racetrack, but also for pitting. You don't want to be in the back, caught up in the mess, having to catch up to people and everything's in front of you. You want to be in front of it as much as you can be. But Nagels and Hill are working pretty well right there on the top side, but the problem is they don't really have a teammate up there other than Falkingham that would let them in to pit right here. But they're not going to be able to. Here they come. It looks like the entire field right here. There's contact in the back already, it appeared, between Matt Lee. Here comes the entire field. Lots of lockups, lots of contact coming in, but they make it through cleanly this time. How about that? A great pit stop for the entire field of this race. Coming in this time by. Looking at Nathan Harper, see if he can get through cleanly. Cody Nagels goes through his box a little bit right there. Trying to come in. Devin Ray, a clean stop for him. Evan Carlbon's putting some tires on in the back. Matthew Baker is a lap down, but he pit with this group as well. Daniel Falkingham, it looks like he's going to beat Alex Hill to the commitment line, but Hill is going to have the run up there and is going to be in front of his teammate. Falkingham is Harper, Lee, Jones, Ray, Miles, Jua, Baker, and Kevin Freeze. Even though Baker's a lap car, that is the top 10 of this little pack that's been formed up at the end of this thing. That was the entire field, and that kind of proved it to everybody, like, hey, we actually can do a green flag pit stop. That was great how the entire field came in A little bit of contact here and there, but it was a clean one. No spinouts, no damage, no crashes, no nothing. Good for them. This pack right here has driven away from this backpack. Right here, Trevor Osmoroth is the leader of this second little group right here, which is him, Nagels, and Kenneth McCullough, who will rapidly be caught by the group that is led by Davis Greenwell, Dalton Steele, and Evan Carlbon. There are so many cars, so many numbers in this pack right here that they are going to approach that group quickly, and it's up to them to have to get organized, even though Osmoroth is only about a 1.3-ish seconds behind that lead pack, but it looks like, for some reason, this lead pack is still racing themselves up here, which is just going to allow the entire back of these separate little groups right here just to catch them. You would think that they would get single file and try to run away with this and decide it for themselves, but they're not interested in doing that. Malik Ray, with a push from Drew Giwa, is taking the lead. Tried to clear down right there, couldn't do it with a combination of Hill and Falkingham on the bottom. Hill's going to hop up in front of Malik Ray and just leave Daniel Falkingham on the bottom. Nobody else wants to go down there with him to try and help him out, except for his teammate. Hill is going to hop back down to the bottom. A bunch of 7s leading the 2 lines right now. Malik Ray in the 7, Alex Hill in the 77 on the bottom. Approaching a group of lap cars right here who all go up to the high side. Josh Jambroni, Mark Vondell, Brian Hennings, a part of this group right here. Check back to Trevor Osmoroth. They are getting bridged right now by Matthew Baker. Oh, they're here. It's already over. They are here with this pack with the bridging going on with these lap cars of Baker, Hennings, Vondell, Jambroni. They are in this pack, but look at this mess of these lap cars trying to figure out where they want to go. And there's contact in the back. Josh Jambroni, Evan Carlbon. That's a big crash right there. I'm not sure if it's going to draw the yellow, and it does. Josh Jambroni involved once again in a crash right here. Just not sure what we're doing. I'm not sure why there was such problems right here. Trying to sort themselves out while the lead pack is here, but we will take a look at it. So the contact's already started right here. They're 4 wide, basically, with these lap cars, this combo of the lap cars and the lead lap cars. Josh Jambroni, it looks like he goes up a little bit right here. He might not have full control of his car. He's missing an entire rear clip. That definitely hurts the fort. Yeah, he's going to get loose trying to go up, and he's going to end up hitting Dalton Steele, who's going to go down into Evan Carlbon. Carlbon with a good save. Hennings is going all the way down to miss it. Right there, that's probably a night ender for Josh Jambroni. That right front took a big hit. So did Dalton Steele. That was a big, big accident. Right here, this right here, I believe, is Blake Giglio. I sincerely hope I am saying that name correctly. He was also involved. He was one of these lap cars involved in this one. As Josh Jambroni just gets loose, and that could very well be a product of the damage on his car. He was involved not only in that first wreck, but from that first wreck, he had to have gotten some sort of wheel damage, which is already going to make you loose, plus the fact he doesn't have a rear clip on his back bumper, and that's definitely not helping his aerodynamics by any means in that one. So hopefully that is what that was, just a simple getting loose because of damage sort of deal. Dalton Steele was on the lead lap of this thing and was involved. Right there is, see if we can get a somewhat cool camera shot right here. I'm trying to find for y'all real quick. Here comes that main pack. And then Jambroni gets loose down into Steele, down to Carlbon. Bam, big hits to the outside wall. Barney, the flag man, just now throws the yellow flag with the command from Kenny Reel. And that right there, if anybody lost the pack throughout that pit stop exchange during the green flag, they definitely got it back now. They got all their track position that they needed back, because this is going to pack everyone back together. See Jambroni once again just loose into Steele. Big outside hit for Steele. Probably a night-ending accident for both Jambroni and Dalton Steele. Blake Giglio looks like he'll be able to continue as he barely avoids getting hit by another peck. Very, very minimal damage on that thing. For Blake Giglio. We'll take this back live and see who the leaders of our race are. It is still Alex Hill, Daniel Falkingham up front with Malik Ray, Nathan Harper, Drew Giwa rounding out the top 5. Stephen Miles has found his way to 6th place. Matthew T. Lee in 7th. Dylan Jones in 8th. Kevin Fries in 9th. And Trevor Osmoroth back in the 10th position. We'll be restarting with what appears to be 7 laps to go here. I want to get a quick conversation with Cody Nagels, considering what a roller coaster of events he's been through with his being 3 laps down from his connection. Now he's back up in this thing. Let's see what he's thinking right here. Cody Nagels, it is Landon in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I do.
You have had quite the roller coaster of a race. You were 3 laps down at least from a connection, what appeared to be a connection issue, and now you're back in this thing. What happened on the pit stop right there with towards the that green flag pit stop? There's a little bit of, looks like you just kind of went through the box a little bit and you ended up losing the pack, but you managed to get back to them, and now the yellow flag is back out, back to a reset. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a 1-lap queue, and I kind of screwed up, so I had an early box. And my entry was great, but my box was so early I couldn't get woed down in time and through traffic to get in my box. So just a big mistake. Otherwise, I feel like I would have been up in the top 5. But I got 2 teammates up there, and I'm knocking on the door inside the top 10. So anything can happen, and one mistake, and I feel like I can capitalize and be right where I need to be.
Well, absolutely. I made a point saying that you're one of the guys that does not want to sit at the back. You're going to make your way forward no matter what, and that you have because you find yourself just outside the top 10 and 11th place right now. Do you have any ideas on how the rest of this race is going to look crash-wise? Do you think you're going to be able, considering the group around you, do you think it's going to be a clean finish, or is it going to be some wild stuff at the end?
I think it's going to be the normal wild stuff. Third lane will probably roll at some point, and it's going to give me the, it sucks being bottom, obviously, but I just have to keep an eye on the middle, see if something opens up, and just watch what lanes are moving. And, I mean, at this point, it's a little bit of luck. If I can get luck to go my way, I feel like I can get up there. But a little bit of bad luck, and I'm going to lose 10 spots.
Absolutely. Well, that is Cody Nagels, who will restart right here in 11th position for Nightmare Esports. He's going to do the best he can to get his way up there with his teammates Hill and Falkingham, the only 3 representatives for Nightmare Esports in this race. We take it up to Alex Hill from Peachtree City, Georgia, along with his teammate Falkingham from Jonesport, Maine. Another Maine native. I don't know what they call people from Maine, but here he is. He is up here in P2. The Coke Series driver, as y'all might recognize him. Followed by Malik Ray, Nathan Harper, Drew Giwa, rounding out the top 5 of this race. We are coming to 7 laps to go here. We've only had 4 cautions in this thing so far. However, considering this rule is still in effect, we have one more caution at the end of this race. That means money is going to start being taken away from the payouts and put directly into the PGR fund to fund things such as the PGR Championship next week and the PGR 500 at the end of January. Shout out to that. Get yourself signed up for it. So hopefully these guys don't want any more of their money taken away if they wreck again. But here we go. Try and round this thing off green with Hill and Falkingham leading the lines. Back to green flag racing here at Talladega. Two very organized lines right here. Not a lot of miscommunication, not a lot of disorganization by either line right here. Very nice and tidy up against each other's bumpers. Falkingham with a push from Nathan Harper is going to be pushed to the lead, but not clear enough to hop in front of his teammate Alex Hill. Jeff Merck in the back is trying to make something happen, but nobody's wanting to bite on that right now. Hill's going to hop up in front of him and leave the bottom open to Malik Ray and Drew Giwa. Gordon Spain now is trying to make a third line work, but once again, nobody is there with him. So he's just kind of out there by himself, hung out to dry. Until Jeff Merck wants to hop back up there in the back. try and make something happen right there, but we are still nice and organized up here in the front of this thing with 6 laps to go. Into turn 1, Malik Ray is going to have a nose on Alex Hill. With the push from Jiwa, Matt Lee, and Kevin Freeze, Nagels looks like they're pushing 5 trucks deep on the bottom to get that line to advance, but it's not going to be enough because Hill, with the push from Falkingham, is going to clear back to the bottom. The rest of this field coming to 5 to go, still just 2x2, being unusually calm. Freeze and Nagels are going to hop up to the outside line. That's your cue that they are going to try and start a third line right here. They kind of have to. They don't really have a choice. They're going to have to at some point. There it is. Freeze is going to hop up with Cody Nagels in tow. Kenny McCullough, Joshua McCullough. And, oh, Alex Hill's going to get hooked by Malik Ray into the outside wall. I'm sorry, I missed that very quick. We're still wrecking up here. Matt Lee, and there's lots of... Oh, Evan Carl Bond's going to get spun in the back. Here we go. Big one, number 2. Looks like they're all... This crew's going to get away from it. Melton. Greenwell, who had such a good run going. Going to have damage this one. Now he's going to get cleaned out by Baker coming back up the track. Davenport, nowhere to go. We're still wrecking in this thing. Hopefully the rest of this field can get by right here. Yeah, my apologies. That wreck with Hill kind of caught me off guard. It looked like he just got straight right hooked into the wall. We're going to have to definitely go back on that one because that was a big hit for Alex Hill on the outside wall. Probably a race-ending one as well. Let's see if we can find him before we look at what happened up here. So this is Alex Hill and Malik Ray in tandem on the bottom. And Ray's going to dip a little bit under him, and it's just going to hook Alex and Malik. That's definitely netcode if it hooked Malik as well. And Hill straightens it back out with a good save, but a big slap into the outside wall. Not sure how bad his damage is going to be. And then it continues with Kevin Freeze and Stephen Miles getting into it at the front. But I remember seeing Evan Carlbon, if we can go back to him. So we're like 5 wide right here with Lee, Carlbon, Jones, Nagels, and Freeze. Now Ozernoth is 5 wide. And it's just people packed in too close together. Carlbon and Jones disagreeing on their position. It's going to hook Nagels a little bit, give him a little bit of damage. Lee's going to get knocked down. Carlbon had it saved decently well, but his teammate Walker goes all the way down, but then he loses it right there on the transition back into the banking. And Carlbon's going to get turned by Walker. Lee with a... Still trying to save that thing down there, but there's more contact up here. Mike Triscaro, big hit into the outside wall. It's going to clip Melton, Davenport, Haynes, Merck, Spain, all involved in this one right here. Coming to the end of this thing. Let's take a look at Michael Triscaro, who had a big hit in that one. Still wrecking right here. So here's Triscaro. The wreck's developing in front of him. Oh, Davenport's going to hook Greenwell into Triscaro. Honestly, I think Triscaro was going to be involved anyway when Walker was coming back up the track right there. But what a shot for Michael Triscaro riding the wall. Had some big wrecks here tonight. I would not be surprised if that right there most likely expired the engine on the number 34 truck for Michael Triscaro, who has been desperately trying to win one of these events for years. Once again, it is taken away from him with only 5 laps to go in this race. Pick this up again, see what this camera angle shows us right here. So the wreck's happening up front. And then Calamity right there, Carlbon right over the digger cam. Still wrecking. And then after the wreck right here, Matthew Baker, who it looked like missed it, and then he's just going to contact Davis Greenwell, and then Mike Davenport tries to miss it, but just can't right there at the end of that one. Gordon Spain in the 38, the Bass Pro Tracker Boats truck right there. Big damage on the nose of that one. That is unfortunate, but it's what is to be expected at the end of a super speedway race. Look at Gordon Spain's hood hopping up on the apron. Right there for him. Probably can't even see. Just doing his best to try and wheel that thing back to the pits and see if anything can be fixed on that number 38. That was our second or third big wreck right there. I'm not sure. Here's Davis Greenwell trying to get his damage fixed. Jeff Merck coming out of the pits there as well. Cody Nagels did take damage in that one right there. Spain and Carlbahn, it looks like. Well, Spain exited the pits at the right time. Looks like Carlbahn was a little late, and he will be a lap down right there. There is a little bit of right rear damage on the back of Nagels from the contact. Just nothing intentional, of course. Just everyone all over the place. And looked like Freeze Osbernoff maybe got a little bit of contact right there with him. But fuel, I am wondering if fuel is going to be tight right here, because the first run in the first like 15 laps of this race was when they pit and then the wreck happened. So they pit around like lap 15, 16. Well, we pit with 15 to go. Granted, we've had 2 cautions since then, but you see Falkingham down on the bottom trying to minimize the amount of space he has to drive on the racetrack to save as much fuel as possible. If this thing has to go to a few overtimes, we might be looking at a fuel mileage race, seeing who can make the most fuel, or make their fuel tank last the longest. But as a new kind of front 2 right here, Nathan Harper's found his way back to the front in the 0-1 car, the Logan York Tribute car. Shout out to Logan York. I know he's on vacation. If not, he would definitely be out here racing with us right now. Malik Ray and Drew Jiwa in row number 2. Stephen Miles and Cody Nagels, the teammates. In row 3, Trevor Osranoff and Dylan Jones, 7th and 8th. Freddie Baznez has found his way back to the front in the top 10. And then Joshua McCullough in 10th. Well, this is sure to be a wild finish. If I am not mistaken, this is the first attempt at an overtime finish. We will have 2 more to see if first off, if we need them. But hopefully we will not. We can round this thing off right here and now. That was the 5th caution flag of the race, for what has honestly kind of been a relatively clean one compared to how some go sometimes. But Daniel Falkingham and Nathan Harper are going to be your 2 leaders of this one as they come into the restart zone. It'll be a late jump for Falkingham right here. Harper and Jiwa, they timed that pretty perfectly. Harper's very perfect. He might have a shot at clearing Falkingham going into turn 1 right here. He's not going to be that big of a jump right there. Nathan Harper. Falkingham is going to still be leading the bottom. Malik Ray, Stephen Miles pushing for all they have right here. Falkingham is probably going to stay bottom right here. It looks like he will. Contact in the back. Herbert with a little bit of damage. Looked like Chris Walker might have spun him to the apron a little bit. Connor Cunningham in the back, 29, trying to make something happen. Into 3. Falkingham and Ray. Now top 2, look for Malik to hop up in front of Nathan Harper right here. I'm surprised Falkingham didn't try to take it. He's going to let Ray have it. Malik Ray will now be the leader of this race, coming to the white flag. It'll be him and Falkingham, the 2 Coke drivers in this field tonight, battling it out in the final PGR event of the year. White flag is out for Malik Ray as he will lead the field into turn 1 for the final time. Nathan Harper, so much pushing and shoving going on that top line. Drew Jiwa giving it to Harper, who's giving it to Ray, but Falkingham with a run on the bottom and the push from Stephen Miles and Trevin Osmeroth. Cody Nagels is going to ditch that middle line. Jiwa tried to take it from him, but he just dekes him back down to the middle. Jiwa and Dylan Jones on the top trying to make something happen. Kevin Freeze with a big push to Cody Nagels. Daniel Falkingham getting a little bit squirrely from his teammate right there. Miles giving him that push. This is going to be a photo finish. I got a feeling right here. Falkingham, Ray, Miles, Harper, who is going to try and hop out? If anybody, they seem content to just stay where they are. A 2x2 finish. It's going to be a photo finish. Looks like Malik Ray is going to take it from Daniel Falkingham. Nathan Harper rounds out the podium. Cody Nagels in 4th. Trevor Oswernoff in 5th. Malik Ray wins the final race of the PGR 2024 season. He was already in the championship race, as was Falkingham, as was Harper. All three of those guys are not only in the race, but are also competing for the championship next week. Nice and calm finish that we had right there. Let's see if we can take a look at it. Just 2x2. You see, like, Josh McCullough in the back. Everyone's just kind of content to ride where they were, it appears. Falkingham just didn't have the push at the end of the race. That outside line with just enough momentum for Ray to cross the line first in this one, and we start wrecking after the checkered flag, but that doesn't matter at this point. Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham, Nathan Harper, Cody Nagels, and Trevor Oswornoth will be your cash positions tonight in the final race of the PGR season. Congratulations, to Malik Ray and Daniel Falkingham and Nathan Harper for the podiums tonight. Have to take this back live and go through your full grid. Malik Ray's doing his burnouts right there. So, as Malik Ray continues his burnouts in the background right there, we'll go through this grid. Ray, Falkingham, Harper, Miles, and Nagels, we already talked about in the top 5. This one, it's interesting that it says Miles right there. I'm not sure. It says Nagels on one piece of telemetry, and that one says Miles, but we'll go off of this one. Trevor Oswornoth in 6th, Kevin Freeze in 7th, Joshua McCullough in 8th, Kenneth McCullough in 9th, and Dylan Jones rounds out the top 10. Bobby Wojcik, a good run for him in P11. Drew Jiwa looked like he had a look at winning this thing tonight, ends up in 12th place. Joey Masowitz in 13th, Freddie Basnez 14th, Jeffrey Johnson the 2nd in 15th, Matt Lee 16th, Brandon Broadfoot 17th, and Devin Ray for the Jack Shack in 18th place. 19th tonight will be Sierra Clampert, Chris Melton in 20th, Connor Cunningham 21st, Quentin Steinbach 22nd, Alex Hill 23rd, John Darnell the 3rd, 24th, Jeff Merck 25th, Chris Walker 26th, Brian Hennings 27th, Jared Haynes in 28th, 29th, Jonathan Herbert, Davis Greenwell, he had a great run in this race, sadly ends up with a P30 tonight. Dylan Basin, the first car lap down in 31st, Evan Carlbon 32nd, Mark Vondell 33rd, Mike Davenport 34th, Gordon Spain 35th, Michael Triscaro 36th, Matthew Baker 37th, a tough run for the team of NBG tonight, Dalton Steele in 38th, 39th, Josh Jambroni, Blake Giglio in 40th, James Wagner 41st, John Mullahan in 42nd, David Sheets 43rd, Joe Huerta for the Jack Shack 44th, J.R. Miller making his return to Money Racing for Team PGR, ends up 45th, Larry McDonald 46th, and John Ward 47th in this one. Stick with us. We're going to see if we can get your top 3 in here for interviews for what was an interesting race, a pretty crazy one, especially towards the end of it. Lots of crashes and whatnot, but shout out to everyone making it a clean finish to the line, a clean run to it. As I said, stick with us real quick. We'll see if we can get these interviews. Welcome back to the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series. We've got your top 3 in the waiting room. We will start tonight with Nathan Harper, who finished in 3rd place. Nathan Harper, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
That was a good run for you. I thought you were going to have your 2nd PGR win, not just of the year, but of your career. Walk me through the finish right there. What did you see? Were you just content to sit behind Malik and see what kind of finish you could get out of it? What were you thinking there at the end?
Oh yeah, I was 100% content. I mean, it was a green white checker in that top lane. I mean, that's just not enough time for it to get running. So like, okay, well, just sit here and push, and hopefully we cash. And on the start, the bottom started rolling, and I don't know. It's just the top weren't rolling, and then once Malik cleared up and get in front of me, I was like, all right, well, it's gonna be a drag race. I mean, I still want to win that, man, but I can't be too upset because I mean we're still walking out of here with what I don't even know, like 200 something. We still profit at the end of the day, so we can't be too mad.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good payday for you in that P3 in the sold out race for the final race of the year. Go ahead and give your shout outs. Who would you like to thank or shout out?
My two teammates, Freddie Bassinez and Josh. How do you say his last name? Oh my God,
It's Jim Brony.
Jim Brony. Okay, yeah, I'm bad with names. We worked together, and we had that first caution, that big wreck on pits, and we all were up front there together. I was like, okay, maybe we can kind of manage, and they got screwed in some other wreck, I forget, but yeah, shout out to them for working with me. Shout out to Matt Baker and Mike Triscaro for putting on the show. Wouldn't do it without them, and everyone who showed up tonight. It was a good turnout. But yeah, they do a really good job here at PGR. It's very professional, and yeah.
That is Nathan Harper, your third place finisher. Go celebrate. Congratulations once again on your third place.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
So we can pull up Daniel Falkingham next. Daniel Falkingham, it is Landon in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Hey, Landon, how we doing?
Pretty good. Looked like a good race for you after some early attrition on a green flag pit stop. Walk me through how you worked your way back through this field to end up P2 tonight and have a shot at the win.
Yeah, I'm definitely kind of embarrassed about that first pit stop. But the whole thing going through my mind was, even if I called out that I needed to pit, I was afraid no one was going to let me down. So it's just kind of self-conscious right there. So I pushed my luck, hoping people would peel off. They did, but I just wasn't quite clear enough of Baker, and I kind of wrecked myself. And we had 2 minutes of damage, but we actually got it all fixed under that one caution, so we made our charge right back to the front from there, and we were able to come away with the P2. So, but yeah, definitely kind of embarrassed and kind of stupid on my part. I did that, so I think we'll be taking a vacation in a couple weeks or whatever. So, it's unfortunate, but we'll learn from it.
Well, even if it was a mistake and you're kind of taking yourself down with that one right there, it was still a successful night for you. You came back from that adversity, finished P2, and had that look at the win. Go ahead and give your thanks and shout-outs.
Yeah, it's got a shout-out Baker, Scar, everyone who runs the show over here. Shout out to everyone who races, puts on these fun events each and every week. Shout out to Malik on the win, good win to him. I almost had him come back to the line, but I just didn't quite have enough right there. But so GG's to him. Shout out to Cody and Alex Hill for working with them the whole race. Hey, and Alex got wrecked there at the end because me and him, we had control of that at the end, but it just didn't work out like that, unfortunately. So, but now, shout out to the Nightmare Boys as always. Shout out to you for broadcasting, and shout out to everyone who watched. And looking forward to the championship race next week.
Yes, sir, absolutely. That is Daniel Falkingham, your second place finisher here tonight. A good run for him, a good comeback for him. Now we'll see if we can get Malik Ray. Malik Ray, it is landed in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yo, what's up, man?
Well, it was a good run for you, a pretty dominating one. You had to fight off the late charges after early adversity from Nathan Harper and Daniel Falkingham. Walk me through what you saw at the end of that race.
It was pretty self-explanatory at the end. You're gonna have 2 laps. You kind of just, if the outside, if you get clear of the top, just go up, and you just have to hope that you don't have 2 teammates behind you that are gonna hang you out. And I had Nate behind me, and I think he had Steven behind him, and I was just hoping that they weren't gonna go high the whole time. So I appreciate Nate and his help, and also Drew for his help as well.
Oh, absolutely! It was just a dominating run for you and a few guys tonight that were just up front the whole time. It seemed, like you said, it was pretty self-explanatory at the end. Nobody really wanted to make the move third because it was kind of too late at that point, and the only ones that did ended up getting shuffled, like Drew. But luckily, you were not one of those, and you ended up coming away with the win tonight. Go ahead and give your thanks and your shout-outs.
I appreciate Nate. I appreciate Drew and Steven and you guys for broadcasting. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That is Malik Ray, your winner here tonight for the final race of the 2024 PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series season. Congrats again to Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham, and Nathan Harper for your podium finishers here tonight. For PGR eSports, and for everyone else involved, I have to shout this out. The championship race is next week. That will be in the Gen 6 cars. And go ahead and get yourself signed up. You know you can. Go to the website, pgresports.com. Get yourself signed up for the PGR 500 coming up at the end of January, if I'm not mistaken. January 28th to February 2nd is the dates for that. We'll have 8 heat races and then a feature event for y'all. Get yourself signed up. It's a $30 entry. And see if you can... if you have what it takes to come and compete with these big dogs that race on Thursdays and these coach drivers and everyone else involved. Well, for PGR Esports, Michael Scarra, Matthew Baker, I'm Landon Veleke. Congrats again to Malik Ray. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Hope everyone's Christmas was good. And if we don't see you next week, Happy New Year. Hopefully y'all have a good New Year and tune in next week for the next edition of the Intimidator Superspeedway Series, which will be the championship event. Thanks again for watching. Hope y'all have a very good night.